the stage is a beast from the EU region, someone all too familiar with their performance recently in the Stockholm Major. Hot off a win and now at full power and looking dominant out of the group stage. Welcome to the stage, the one, the only, Team OG.
فريق اوجي وصل للمسرح وزي ما احنا عارفين توهم جايين من فوز في بطولة ميجر جدا كبيرة، لكن خصمهم ممكن بدأ بداية صعبة في البطولة، لكن قدر يستمر لما وصل لمرحلة انه يتأهل الى النصف النهائي بعد مباريات كانت ثقيلة، وهو يعتبر الامل الاخير للجمهور الصيني انهم يمكن يقدرون يكتبون اسمهم على كأس رياض ماسترز لأول مرة ويصنعون التاريخ معنا في رياض ماسترز. اعزائنا المشاهدين والحضور، رحبوا معنا فريق PSG LGD.
The stakes are high. This is a single elimination. Lose here and you are just out. On one side stands the final bastion of hope for the Chinese region. On the other, possibly their biggest kryptonite. All too familiar, OG versus LGD, time and time again, blocking their way. Can they finally overcome their demons and take the win? Let's find out as we prepare for the games.
مباراة فريق اوجي وال جي دي مو اول مرة نشوفها وقد شاهدناها مرات كثيرة، لكن هالمرة هذه تبي تكون الستيكس جدا عالية، لانه في حالة خسارتك للجيم ما عاد بيكون عندك فرصة انك تكمل سنجل اليمينيشن ماتش، وخطوة اخيرة قبل ما يتأهل فريق الى الجراند فاينل، بيكون اول فريق معنا يوصل الى الجراند فاينل في الرياض ماسترز. مباراة بتكون ثقيلة. خلونا على طول اعزائي المشاهدين نروح للاستوديو التحليل على طول ونفتتح اليوم النهائي من بطولة رياض ماسترز.
We've gone to watch the teams walk out on that stage. And everyone's talking about, the storylines. Oh, OG always beats LGD. That's the one thorn. Is that really true, Dan? Do you think LGD sees them that way? I know you do, Jamar.
I don't know. I think LGD are going to take a very similar attitude to OG, that this is a good learning experience for them, because we always talk about, we have a bit of a Western focus when we think about all these things. It's like OG's first chance to play this Chinese juggernaut, right? Whereas it's also LGD's first chance to play OG in quite some time. They're going to be able to take that back.
Everyone, right? LGD is like, finally, we can play international teams. I'm curious on the other side. Everyone's talking about how this is the big test for OG because they get to play against the Chinese teams. Is that true to you, Jamar?
I think that for us, there's specific learnings that the team has to go through from now until TI to be ready. And this is one of them, Okay. You have to go internationally to play a tournament. You have to feel what the pressure it feels when you play with these guys, because it's really big.
Right.
And whatever they win or whatever they lose, they're going to have that experience, because you don't want to learn that during TI.
Yes.
Yeah, even for the Chinese teams, right? Like LGD or Chinese Dota in general, there is a bit of a stereotype that they're kind of a little bit too stubborn when it comes to these lands. They stick with what they know for too long, whereas other teams are known to adapt a little bit, bring out something new mid-tournament, which for something like TI, which this year it's a multi-week tournament, might be a little bit more challenging. I think flexibility is even more at a premium. And Jay, I want to ask you something as well. You were briefly talking to me about before how OG might be viewing this, like you said, as a learning experience, but how do you feel the pressure is going to be on them versus, let's say, LGD?
I think LGD has to have more pressure, you know? I mean, if they get beat by a bunch of 16-year-olds, you know? I'm going to be tweeting on them. It's like, oh, what's up, bro?
What happened? What happened? I thought you guys were the kings, you know? Yeah.
What do you think, LGD expert? Do you think that the age matters to them? The experience? Do you think they value that a lot? Or is it just Dota, good Dota's good Dota?
Bro, Dota players are Dota players. They have pride. You know, you don't want to get stomped by anyone. Not to say they will get stomped, of course, but I think that they're definitely going to get it from their fans if OG are able to come out on top, and that's not what anyone wants. Everyone wants to be the big dog.
Sure. Have we had that experience? Because I know, for example, the other Chinese coaches, right, RTK, was very vocal about his beefs with literally half the scene at this point. Very passionate man. Do you think Xiaoba also has that kind of attitude, or do you feel like he's just game at a time, you know, play the best Dota you can?
He seems a lot more measured. You know, you see a lot of these teams, and sometimes it's good for the performance in terms of just keeping your emotions steady, you know, not riding too high, not going too low, because then you can have dips and all that sort of stuff. But it's just so entertaining to see those really explosive, fiery personalities, which is why someone like Amar obviously has such a big fan base. Or honestly, he's a little polarizing as well. You know, some people love him, some people love to not love him so much.
I think he's the funniest guy we have on the roster, and we're very lucky to have him. He's amazing, and he's grown a lot, you know?
Yeah.
He used to be a little bit more of the challenging punk when he joined the roster, and now he's really understood what it takes to win and how you need to really harmonize with everybody else. And he's been lovely to work with.
I want to ask at one point, now it's long past that, but there was a little bit of beef in the Stockholm Major with Amar with a couple of players.
Beef.
Yeah, beef. One particular one was Matthew from Thunder Awaken. They said some words to each other in a pub, and Amar actually apologized as he progressed to the Stockholm Major, which I thought was interesting. You know, he won the game, he's like, very sorry for what I said, you know, didn't mean to be mean. Was that something he had planned the whole time? Do you guys know anything about this storyline for Amar?
No, we really don't try to control who they are or how they're going to be. I know that Amar is just a competition. He's 16-year-old and he's constantly, you know, bouncing, and he wants you to bounce back. He doesn't want just to run you over in how he plays, in how he talks. But if he feels or he ever felt that somebody was taking offense, it's not his objective, you know? He will apologize if he have to.
That's very nice. To apologize on the big stage takes a lot of guts. You know, he seems like a very shy person, so to do that, I feel like that's a test of courage for him, right?
He's great. He's a great kid.
It's always a bit of fun, right? Like, you don't want it to be this one-way street where you're just, like, giving a lot of this banter, giving, and getting nothing back. You know, that's what I was saying before about these more exuberant personalities. You want that showmanship to be able to come out. And honestly, LGD probably one of the more calm, cool, collected teams that are less likely to be able to give a little bit back. But, you know, we saw in their series, even against Deboosters, when they were able to get that level 1 Roshan, we saw a few smiles go across the LGD, and, you know, they were happy. They were bantering in the all chat, which is always great to see. But we're into the draft, and, well, speaking of Amar, he has been able to pick up that Viper for himself. So clearly a lot of attention being given to him with those first couple of bans, the Timbersaw and the Razor. Obviously, Amar Timbersaw, very fearsome. Razor seems a little bit like the hero of the tournament. Something's got to slip through. Yeah.
I'm curious about the Viper, because all the picks that we've seen for Amar.
Now, who's playing what?
Okay, never mind. Maybe it is Amar Slaughter. This is interesting. What do you think of the deviation is? I mean, Viper clearly a flex still, but could Slaughter be played in other positions, Dano?
I'm not feeling quite as strong about it. Back when he was playing on Liquid, Tiger as the position 4 sometimes switched up roles with Boxy at the time when there was a Slider in the game.
That was
it was a little bit more likely, yeah. So I'm keen to see how it works out, because Nature's Prophet, it's one of those heroes that's good at bullying out people in the lane. You've got a lot of ways to be able to just deal quick physical damage to the heroes, assuming it is a position 1. Arme's played it a couple of times, POS 1, so it could certainly be the case, but I think they're just wanting to leave their options open. We've seen, you know, Viper paired with a Dragon Knight a lot of these other times, and clearly they're just thinking that the minus armor against someone like the Tiny, if it is indeed going to be a core at some stage, is going to be a little bit more valuable.
JMR, one of the brands, I think, for OG, for all Dota fans, has been the idea of, like, never giving up, right? There's one of the best teams historically at coming back from lost games. Do you feel like this current iteration also has that spirit as well? Or do you think they are very much of a snowbally kind of rotation, winning lanes?
I think we're a little bit greedier than we were before. I mean, understatement. We're the greediest team in the world. And I think that, look, when we see the draft here, the fun thing that I can add, you always start thinking, oh no, this is for sure the carry player, the carry hero. in OG you don't know. But we don't know, they don't know, and BCM definitely doesn't know. He's like, okay, what am I going to get stuck playing, you know?
Who's the person that decides how everything works together at the end? Is that Misha or is that Chubash?
I think Amar has a lot of impact with
Really?
it, and obviously Misha and Chu as the captain and the coach. But I think everybody gets a feeling of what's happening, you know? We practice so much, you know, you've seen already the iterations,
Right.
and we know what kind of hero pool everybody feels comfortable playing.
And when you flex a pick, when does the Amar test happen? Is that after when they're deciding it or before?
Okay, so the Amar test is that Amar will check your level in Dota buff of a hero. And if he doesn't like it, he will just disregard anything you say. So there was like a moment on the major where Seb was like, oh, I think this is a good AA pick. And Amar went to Dota buff, and he clicked Wind Ranger. He didn't say, no, I think, no, but no, you're playing Wind Ranger.
What is it? It's like Dota Plus, it's like gold or above, basically.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but if you don't pass it, you're not playing the hero.
I think Seb in your podcast said it was first they would check win rate, then last few games, right?
Yes.
That was it, and of course the level was the first thing. I think it was like level 10 or above, but you're not playing it, right?
Yeah.
Really high standards for him. LGD also has high standards, but those are decided by the director, as we like to call him, right? Whenever he has a plan, he tells his players to practice this beforehand. That's why they're always ready. That's why they're so versatile. What can you tell me about this plan you're seeing right now? Actually reminiscent a little bit of the RNG lineups we saw with this early Furion.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just... Viper is one of those heroes that is not very mobile. That's its big weakness. You want to stand there, you want to be a turret, you want to force down towers, objectives, be a beast in a lot of these team fights. If indeed it is a core Viper, we still don't know.
Sure.
But we've got this Furion, of course, very mobile, able to move around the map, and they are kind of single target focused as well on OG at this point in time. So that's why it's really important for them to take away a few of those easier opportunities to be able to dominate the lane. Of course, a Warlock Bristleback against an off-lane Nature's Prophet is a fantastic lane. Bristleback, once you hit level 25, honestly even level 20, level 18, these big power spikes, all that physical damage from the Quill Spray is just going to be amped up by the Corrosive Haze from the Slardar. It just means that you can continue balling on forward. And ooh, new hero Pog Champ. We've got a Dazzle coming out here. Again, it's all about the burst damage, and it's all about the single target burst damage that OG have right now. So someone like a Dazzle's pretty good, but it's kind of just like delaying the inevitable, you know? It's not actually going to save you unless you have a way to disengage and be able to come back after a team fight. So right now, they don't exactly have that. Like the Tiny, if he's the one getting gone on, then probably you don't have a way to be able to follow up on that.
And it's fascinating as well because we've seen LGD being the team that always runs team fight 5s, right? That's been the big thing they've been doing this tournament. Last match against Nigma, they go for the Enchanters, more lane-oriented, and the Dazzle is also lane-oriented, right? Do you think there's a shift in their strategy to adapt to the OG?
Possibly. I mean, Dazzle Nature's Prophet is a really strong lane together. Like, I know they're two range, which isn't typically the way to go about it, but if it's going to be, you know, a Viper or if it's going to be a Slardar, that's exactly what you want. And this is what I was thinking. Illusion Heroes against this very single target focused lineup. It's going to be great. You know, Naga Siren, Phantom Lancer was potentially an option as well, but yeah, I don't hate this Naga.
I'm curious now about, because I'm sure you've seen them play, right? And you just like witnessed
Sometimes,
it. Yeah. When you get to, they're going for strong lanes now in LGD, right? So it's not going to be the usual destroying Amar lane. What happens when the lanes don't go their way? Like, what is the recovery like? How's the attitude in OG? Do they concentrate a lot? Do they maybe try to have a lighter atmosphere?
I think that you always, if you watch all the Mar games, you see that he's going to try to find farm that makes him happy and makes him feel the vibe of the game.
Right.
And I think the most interesting thing right now is all these heroes can be very greedy, but who is playing what? Right. I mean, in my 2K pubs, you know, all these are core players, core heroes, sorry.
Sure. What better way to scale? You know, if it gets to 50 minutes, they're like, we got this. We have that late game potential. But
that is the OG strat though until now. I'm pretty sure it's all carry.
I think that's it, like the open AI, you know? Okay, how about we play like this? We all buy Midas, you know? We all get cores, and we just have to make an hour game, you know? And then we'll be ready.
And that's where Taiga comes into play, right? His experience and his ability at cutting lanes. That's where he has shined and shown. And he has been able to kind of delay the games for OG to scale as they want to.
So I'm just trying to think what OG are looking to go for with this last pick of the overall draft. I wouldn't hate something like a Death Prophet, for example. You've got some percentage damage, you get that Spirit Siphon onto the real Naga Siren. Even if you're going to use the mirror image, it's still going to be able to follow you. Some extra tower push. Roshan just melts even faster. You probably don't even need to pop the Exorcism for it. I really wouldn't hate to see something like that. And again, it is still kind of flexible, right? You can toss it into multiple different lanes.
Where would you put it though, the Death Prophet?
I don't think OG knows where they would put it if they were to pick it up, but...
Musical chairs. We're going to play music and we stop.
Yeah.
Are they the only team that's also played the Viper 4, I believe? Like, they're one of the few teams that actually wants to flex it as 4, at least in the tournament.
Yeah, you don't really often see it as a 4 because obviously 4s want to be rotating. They want to be making sure that you're able to assist with those water runes, those power runes, because, you know, I guess maybe that's a little bit less of a factor now, considering we're seeing the heroes that like to go for those power runes drop off a little bit. Not so much Ember Spirit, not so much Storm Spirit. Those are the big two. Obviously,
Puck's fallen off a little bit, though.
A little bit, yeah, for sure, and that's really because of the Tiny a lot of the time. So, but Tiny likes to use those water runes as well. So maybe OG just aren't valuing the rune rotations quite as much, and they just want to focus on dominating the lanes.
Right. And now OG, they currently have an issue with this Naga, right? You have a lot of minus armor, which is fine, but Naga also known for having one of the highest base armors in the game, great agility gain. You have the help from the Dazzle as well in that regard. What is the final pick, or what do you think they need for this to answer them?
So you can see right now it's actually Chu and Amar that are drafting right now together. So Amar has the papers, which are also a staple for us.
Yes.
So he's drafting right now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different, right? Obviously, Misha's like the captain of the team, and by the way, just a little bit of extra info, 24th birthday for Misha, so happy birthday to him. But maybe that's one of his presents, you know? Obviously, Amar has a lot of addition to the draft, but they're just like, you know what? Take it easy this time, Misha. We're going to let you sit back and relax.
There's the magic damage we were talking about, right? To deal with the high armor, and a favorite of them, the Puck. Does the Tiny go mid now for LGD? Dan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think you absolutely want to be doing this. I mean, Nature's Prophet is able to rotate through, right? And the Winter Wyvern coming through. Okay.
Ooh.
I mean, up against a Dawnbreaker, it's a really solid lineup. I was thinking this is what I wanted with that turnaround potential, right? Dazzle can do the initial save, but it's what you do after that that's going to be the big turnaround potential. So against a lot of this minus armor, Winter Wyvern, of course, great against physical damage. If you're looking to ball up and just go with the Dawnbreaker, fantastic too. So two really different styles of lineups. I'm wondering if they might be just going a little bit too defensive on LGD's side. I think outside of this Tiny, they don't have the greatest ways to be able to make plays.
Does OG have ways to make plays? Are you excited about this game?
I'm very excited. I just still don't know who's going to play what.
Yeah, sure.
You guys want to take a guess?
We never find out on this panel, so you know it's it's been a staple of this. Yeah, sure. You want to take a guess? What? Let me just give me one. Like, what does Amar or BZM play?
I think Amar plays the. So I think Tiger's going to play Viper.
Okay.
And obviously TA.
So Misha 5 Dawnbreaker.
Misha 5, yeah, Dawnbreaker.
And then Amar 3, and then BZM on the Amar Slaughter and BZM on the Puck.
Yep.
Classic BZM Puck. That was the hero with his Invoker when he was back on Creep Wave. That's always very exciting to see. Oh, the Viper. Oh.
The Viper.
Oh, no. Anyway, what about as we get into this first game? Will LGD's more defensive lineup be able to work? Will this new Dazzle strategy be successful? Or will this scary Viper that takes over the panel take over the lane as well? We're going to have to find out as we go to game number 1 between OG and PSG LGD.
Thank you, Alva. Right, here we are, game 1, OG, a classic for them, right? Lots of brawling, lots of team fight and catch, but LGD with more reset tools than I've ever seen in a Dota game.
It's a lot of healing. It's like, if we talk about their lineup, you have Nature's Prophet deeping back, you have Dazzle with the heal, Song, Winter Wyvern with the curse, to the heal. This is gonna be a very, very difficult game to just like, because, I mean, if you look at the OG's lineup, they do have explosiveness, they do have what it takes to isolate and bring down the hero, especially with Slaughter and TA. This is a lineup that's gonna threaten Roshan at every single stage of the game. I'm a little worried that this Naga Siren pick caught them a bit off guard, because in terms of the AoE control and damage, once Naga Siren gets to like 2-3 items, it's gonna be very difficult. But yeah, we can hear the crowd clapping. It's time. OG against PSG LGD on the main stage. This is what we wanted to see. You know, some international Dota, 2 big orgs, 2 big teams playing against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like TI Grand Finals quality of teams and players at this point. As we get ourselves into the first game of this series. What kind of build are we expecting from the Naga Siren? Because she's kind of been in and out of the meta from time to time. We've seen them move away from Diffusal into that kind of Manta Skadi, early scaling. Do we go back to the Diffusal now? It's
it's definitely a good Skadi game we're talking about, especially against the Templar Assassin. So Manta style going to be your farming tool, into Skadi, into one more item. Most likely going to be like Aghanim Scepter to be able to deal with the BKB. Also laning stage. I'm looking at Naga Siren plus Dazzle. So, having this heal bomb, something that has been popular.
With the illusions.
Absolutely. If we talk about like Naga, PL, super potent, a lot of healing coming out, and they wanted to sustain. Taiga's going to be playing Viper, something that he has done before a couple of times. I remember a few games where he just went full tank mode and went for a Crimson Guard, but also more utility, going for Raid Pact, Force Staff, whatever the team is needed. They do have... They do have a lot of silences, as I said. They do have a bit of a global presence, especially if we talk about the later stages of the game. Dawnbreaker ulti, Puck showing up, like Templar Assassin potentially getting Aghanim Scepter later on. But still, I think the fights are going to be very difficult. PSG LGD, they are known for good positioning, and now you have two saving supports on top of your core also having a save. Even a toss back, that's also a save.
Yeah, you've got so many layers to that, don't you? You keep looking at this and it develops further and further as you think more about it. If someone gets gone on, they've got Curse to reset, Song to reset, Dazzle with the Grave, of course. We'll see how they do in these lanes, though. Early days, like you were saying, the Naga with the Dazzle. It's physical damage from the Shadow Wave and minus armor from Riptide. So that damage can quickly add up if you're caught unaware as OG. An incredibly strong safe lane. But on OG's side, it's a Slardar Viper, right? They've got aggression and the potential to dominate a lane of their own. Great ways.
It is a lot of healing. It is a lot of confusion because Slardar wants to lock onto target. Same goes for Viper. So using these illusions is going to be a bit difficult, I would say, for OG in the laning stage. Also, value from Dawnbreaker. They do have good ways to reset the fight with Naga Siren ulti. We've seen Wyvern as a counter to Dawnbreaker. You just ulti whoever is getting ulted by Dawnbreaker, and you have a pretty good setup overall.
And there are quite a few counters out there, right? You're talking about the Wyvern against Dawnbreaker, but there's also this Tiny against Puck that we've seen a lot of players not want to pick Puck into Tiny because it is the lane counter and also the mid-game counter with the nuke damage you have.
Yeah, you're always going to be able to threaten kill on Puck with Tiny. They don't have that much lockdown on the other heroes. The other one that Puck is going to be afraid of is Winter Curse. Other than that, he should be okay. I also want to see what item build on Fate Beyond's going to be, but we're talking about the Orchid, which is not that popular, but if they feel like they need more to be able to lock down Puck, you should go for it. Usually we see the Maelstrom into Gleipnir Shard build to be able to scale, and also, this is also a root mechanic, so really good against the Puck.
Yeah, more disables, more pushing power, always helpful for you, as we do get 3 bounty runes grabbed up by OG. Tiger there with the follow Alan Cook, Bonkers, one of their managers of OG. We're giving a shout out by Tiger and his team tag.
Oh, yeah.
He's the bald one with a big beard. He's a good lad.
Gotta give a shout out to all the people who are making this happen. And top lane, Jinkyu is going to be playing Wyvern, known for going extremely greedy. So I want to see what this time around he's going to be going for. Like we're talking about scaling item build most of the time. There's going to be harassment already. Couple of treants, something that Templar Assassin does not deal well in the laning stage. Misha already down to 60% HP.
Yeah, incredibly irritating. And double ranged up against double melee, basically. Templar Assassin, before she gets levels up in Side Blades, is basically a melee hero. In fact, she's worse than a melee hero at level 1. She can barely de-ward up high grounds with her base attack range. It's that bad. And Misha, for now, is contending with treants for the most part, throwing that Celestial Hammer to make sure they aren't chipping away at the TA and giving Yuragi that early space that he needs.
Misha starting with Ring of Protection, understanding that a lot of damage is going to be coming out from Nature's Prophet and the treants. Jinkyu stops the pull.
Very good.
A lot of denies on the mid lane. 4 already on Nothing to Say. 7 and 4 and only 3 and 2 on Puck. Yeah,
I was just looking in there because we know that this Tiny can handle the Puck incredibly well. So it's going to come down to BZM and trying to outmaneuver the Tiny, get those water runes. And did you expect OG to try and help him out because Viper not really the best hero to rotate, and Dawnbreaker, is she going to be controlling runes for the puck as well, or is this just down to BZM? You're on your own.
Probably we're talking about like 4 minutes of rune rotation. He's gonna be the one calling the shots, whether he needs some kind of a help, and also if PSG LGD supports decide to move around, that means that potentially he's not gonna be able to pick up one of the water runes. Tiny already has his bottle, and so does BZM. So let's see. They are deciding who goes left, who goes right.
Oh, BZM was right.
BZM was right indeed.
I do get their water into themselves. Yeah, very, very laning focus from both teams. All the supports, not the most ideal rotators or gankers. As Tiger looks for the Courier Snipe bot, gonna miss out on it. Trying to play forward and harass back White. But it looks like so far, LGD coming out on top in the regen trade in that Naga Dazzle lane. Slardar doing well with the CS though, 14-2. And Naga's 11-0, having a little bit of a struggle, but now we're level 3, we're going to have the potential for the kill threat and aggression from LGD if Viper ever oversteps his bounds.
Slardar going, Amar going for what he's known for, just a casual one bracer power treads into Mask of Madness. He wants to be able to scale, and we see the power whenever Ame uses his illusions into heal. Why a little bit low on mana, has one mango only to work with, so gotta be a little bit more careful.
Well, he will get a pull off into the Kobold camp. That should leave a couple of creeps to come back towards OG, but this is